Welcome back to the Techcelerate TV studio here at London Tech Week 2018. Mission Critical Technologies is an event that's taking place around here today. Today is the first time that we've had Mission Critical Technologies as part of the event at Techcelerate. So here to chat a bit more about Mission Critical Tech and about delivery of emergency services is Michael Hallowes, who is an independent strategic advisor for National Public Safety Technologies. Thank you very much for joining us, Michael.
Thank you for the invitation, David.
So, Mission Critical Technologies, how have you found the event so far?
It's been a great opportunity to find out who's doing what and who's benefiting from it. I've recently returned from Australia, and it's great after 6 years away to see how we're developing concepts into practical applications.
So, tell me, when it comes to technologies, there's a number of technologies around here today, whether it's AI or 5G or virtual reality, how do they play into the delivery of emergency services and creating better outcomes in emergency situations, in your view?
It's an interesting question, because I just see them as the vehicles for delivering an outcome. How it's delivered is not necessarily always my interest, as long as it's resilient and reliable. I'm very keen to see the what. What is it that we're delivering to the community and to the workforce that keeps them safe? And so all these capabilities are wonderful if they're the right capability, but I'm more interested in the outcomes that we're delivering around community safety, meeting operational requirements that improve the experience for both the public and the emergency services who deliver those services.
Okay, so let's look at this in terms of a gap analysis, in terms of the quality of service, the types of service, the speed of service, for example, that possibly could be delivered in emergency situations, and maybe looking, as indeed you do with your experience of working abroad, looking at outcomes in other countries and other territories and compare those to where we are in the United Kingdom. What are those gaps and how can we try and address those, whether it's with specific technologies or just creating different methodologies to address that?
Certainly my experience from Australia over the last 6 years has been one of the country is far more agile at dealing with the flash to bang, from recognizing there is a capability gap to delivering the products and service required is a matter of months. Here there's a lot of deliberation over capability that you don't have to do as an individual country. You can collaborate around the world to borrow with pride where one country or a group of countries already achieved great things and then just bring it here. So a classic example for me is having led the implementation team for Australia's National Public Alerting System, which is both mobile and landline. Once we've got the legal framework in place, that only took about a year to implement. And that was not the technology that slowed us down, it was the operational readiness and doing the community education piece. And Australia is now on version 4 of that, and we're now looking at, here in the UK, about how we can apply that same technology to fill our recognised gap. There's a real opportunity here not to start at version 0.1, but to borrow with pride from all the research and development and lessons identified, lessons learned in other countries to deliver ours at, similarly, version 4.
So this is what we've been talking about elsewhere, perhaps as reverse 999.
Indeed, reverse 999. I was here as the keynote yesterday talking about just that, advance in using latent technology within the mobile phone networks to deliver information to people in crisis when they are in proximity to the risk, and to give them the information they need to stay safe.
Now, elsewhere in the UK, when it comes to public services in particular, there isn't always there are complaints about speed and agility, about how for various reasons, whether it's fragmentation, whether it's historical reasons, that the speed and agility of embracing technology, embracing innovation, to be more agile, as in your example with with NPAS in Australia, it just isn't there. So how can we try to create a more agile culture to bring in some change that will embrace change so that we can go from flash to bang in much shorter periods of time than perhaps we're used to here?
It's very clear that the emergency services, through the emergency services mobile communications program, are working together to get the same outcomes. It is, I know, taking longer than they had planned, but there is an opportunity here to use that as a platform to get more done. There is a need to recognize that we are not alone. Other countries are doing this, and in fact other sectors within the UK. So the fight against cybercrime is as real and pressing for the business community, and they're coming up with solutions now to protect themselves and to investigate that the police will benefit from as well. But there is a tendency to do it in isolation from each other.
Listen, Michael, fascinating to have this conversation with you, and quite a change, I have to say, from many technology leaders who we've been having conversations with over the last few days, to have, I guess, a rational conversation about how technology in and of itself isn't always the answer. It's about the outcomes, and technology is just the channel of delivery.
It is. It's about experience. We all know what good looks like. You know, if you download an app to your phone, you can have a good experience or a bad experience. You have a good experience with the website or a bad. You have to look at it in those terms from the emergency services. If we're offering a service to the community needs to feel that it's getting a great experience from that service when it's delivered through technology. And the people who are delivering it, the cops, the firefighters, the paramedics, similarly need to feel proud of what they are using as their tools to get the job done. It's really important to have that, and certainly some of the conversations I've been having with people around the use of smartphone applications to simplify the way in which we do business now in the emergency service, in the public safety environment, makes it very clear that the technology is merely the tool that we use to reflect back how good we want our emergency services to be and how confident and trusting we want the community to feel about the way their services are now delivered.
I guess in a way it's about meeting people where they're at, and you know, I use smartphones. My mum, who's 81 this year, uses a smartphone, and I'm sure my kids will very, very soon. And in order to reduce that, to improve the customer experience or the user experience, whether it's emergency services or whether it's a business, meeting customers where they're at, whether it's a smartphone or their tablet or whatever, is surely the path of least friction, or one of the paths of least friction.
I'll give you a very good example of that in Victoria, where I was recently the Emergency Services Commissioner, one of the greatest tools we've given to the community is a smartphone application. It's called Vic Emergency. Every type of emergency that is going to ruin your day is put onto that app, whether that's going to be a power outage, a tree has fallen, the public transport's disrupted, whatever it might be, a fire, that goes on the app. And you set a watch zone around where you live, where you're going to work, where your parents might be, your children's school. And so if any event has an impact within your watch zones, your phone goes off and tells you. So you get advance warning that it could be a bad day, and you can start to rearrange your day. How brilliant that would be to have something similar here. But in Australia, because they've been dealing with this on a massive scale, because Mother Nature gets very angry very regularly, and they have the similar threat of terrorism, thank God it doesn't happen as regularly as it has been shown to happen elsewhere in the world, they need these tools, and the public wants to have the information very quickly so it can make the right decisions. And that's what I've been championing here, is how do we put the information in a usable form that is relevant and timely to people so they make the right decisions.
Michael Hallowes, terrific to chat to you. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thanks, David.